Put your hands on your knees when you're tired and you're like, oh, damn it. Oh, damn it. Oh, damn
Just
it.
sliding right off of it.
Yeah. I have pads on. I'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, man. Stephen Carter, man.
What up, bro?
Good to see you, brother.
Yo, you snuck in today, bro. Like, I was legit, like, it was like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Like, I legit sat down to do some skate maintenance. I was like,
Just creeped up right next to you on the bench.
see, yo, you just get here?
Yeah.
It was wild.
Well, yeah, man. You called me like, man. I'd been in the gym maybe for like 10 minutes. You called me. Now you've known about this coming down here for. You said like a couple months.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
bro.
I get a call 12 hours ahead of time.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I was like, you know what? I think you know what happened. This is what happened. There was so much like stuff like getting ready for this, like who's coming, like who's not going to be there, what do we need for Team USA possibly, whatever. So I think I started looking at like the roster of people that were coming, and then it hit me. I'm like, I got speed skaters right here. Like, I'm calling Jason right now just to see. Let me call Jay real quick.
Yeah.
Then you picked up, and I was like, yo, you want to skate tomorrow? Come on.
I definitely do not want to skate, but I definitely wanted to be here.
Yeah, facts. I'm glad you came down.
I was mid. Hey, every day's leg day, and so I was at the gym. Yeah, so I was like my second set of squats.
Yeah.
So
I gave you a longer break than you needed.
yeah, you did actually. I think towards the end of it, I was like, because we were just sitting there bullshitting, and I was like, well, I've waited 3 minutes now. While we were still on the phone, I started doing my second or third set. I just started repping them out.
Yeah.
So having
Do you
fun.
have AirPods? What's your choice?
Yeah, I have the AirPods.
Yeah.
Man, I used to have the over the ear ones.
They sweat too much though.
Yeah.
That's my only problem. They better sound, but I feel like it just starts like sweating, and it gets weird.
The cups start messing up,
Yeah.
and you start feeling like, I would wear them all the time, and they would start kind of like rotting out.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I feel like a complete fucking dirtbag when I pull the AirPods out, because it doesn't matter how many times you clean your ears, there's shit all over them.
All over it. Doesn't matter. Every time. I'll go like maybe a week, and then at the end of the week, I'm kind of like just scraping out the inside.
Yes.
Of them.
Yes.
Gross, bro. So gross. It doesn't matter, and I'm a Q-tip fiend.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm in the bathroom, I feel like it's like,
Constantly cleaning.
yeah, like
yes.
I don't think they're ever clean.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
It's impossible.
no idea.
Well, I think, like obviously we're here in a skating rink right now.
Yeah.
How long have you been skating for?
Oh my God. I don't think I ever really took a break. Like I got to parts of my life to where it wasn't as serious and training for it like I was just going to meets and just kind of doing my thing. Oh, I am 43. I was 6. That's 37. 37 years.
God damn, man.
I started speed skating and I started figure skating. Just like you figure skated.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us did back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 37 years.
Wow, man. Fred and I, we talked quite a bit about this, and he started skating at a very young age.
Yep.
Him and I met at 10. Obviously, I figure skated first.
Right.
But speed skating wise, I actually started speed skating at 12 and stopped pretty much when I was 18, 19 years old.
And just did the life thing at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I did the life and let life fuck me. Part pretty bad.
I see that part of it. I definitely see that part of it. Like I never really, I had patches like you. Like I didn't get married obviously with my first kid. Thank God. Jesus. We'll skip all that. But yeah, I've had times like in and out of court, like things like that, and I'm like, when does this end, bro? Like I am not a bad person. Like I take care of my kids. Like why do I get treated like this in court? Like yeah,
It's
could go
exhausting.
down a rabbit hole with that. It is, bro.
You're just like, what? How does it fucking stop?
And you waste so much money for the dumbest result, the dumbest outcome.
Yes.
Like it's not like a life or death thing, and you piss all this money away, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay, cool, I gained a day.
Yeah.
That's what we came here for.
Yeah, I got one extra day a year out of this.
Oh,
yeah,
bro.
for $10,000.
You said it right. Exhausting. Like that's what comes to mind.
Yeah,
but that's a rabbit hole. I'm not going to. we could burn hours trading stories on that.
Yeah, no doubt. So Well, look, we're in Waco
Yeah.
right now. What is it you guys are doing here? What is this?
Bro, this is Team USA tryouts for USARS roller derby for the men and the women for World Games next year in Argentina. So World Championships is what we used to call Speed Worlds. Now it's World Games under World Skate.
And do they hold all 3 disciplines together? Well, I guess 4 disciplines now. Do they hold all 4 of them together?
So they have, it's like this World Games. When I say games, it's like games. Like there's downhill, there's slalom, there's the slalom's the dance slalom where they dance around the little cones.
Seriously?
Yo, they're nice though. Like if I say that to somebody, they're like, they dance around cones. If you see it, mad skill involved.
Yeah.
Inlines and rollerblades, however they like to call them. I don't like to leave it out. Basically, like what they call it. There's obviously speed. There's derby, figure skating. It's everything.
Yeah.
That's why it's World Games. So roller sports World Games.
I honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing that it's more. I mean, obviously from the more traditional standpoint, we understood that there was hockey, figure,
Sure.
speed skating.
Yep.
And now, obviously, with the growth and really explosion over the past decade of roller derby,
Yep.
obviously we knew they incorporated that, but those other things, I mean, you look at that and you think that it's like a TikTok thing or something on Facebook Reels.
Yep.
They actually compete those at the World Games.
Out like alpine skiing, down like there's a whole bunch of categories that happen that we weren't used to seeing at World Championships. So hockey's there, obviously, speed, figure, and derby, and then it's this other like extreme sports avenue.
When did that start happening?
So World Games like that this will be the second World Games coming up next year. Yeah. And obviously pandemic stick fucked everybody. And I say that loosely because I feel like everybody has a pandemic story. And
Absolutely.
It's like, that they're like, the pandemic. Like I can't take it.
Yeah, it's like destroyed. I mean, not maybe destroyed, but and somehow someone's got some shit that's happened to them, and it's screwed them over in some way.
Hey,
Come on.
Who let you in the studio?
This is why the show's called Managed Chaos, because
Who let you in the studio?
every time, every show, something happens. So
Who let y'all in?
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Hold on, you're doing a great job.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you doing a penalty box right now? Nice. That's funny.
Alabama wins. So Alabama beat Georgia.
There's some Georgia fans right now probably jumping off bridges.
It's 41-24, and Alabama or Georgia was winning. They were
Georgia
winning
was supposed to
10-3.
win that one on paper.
Yeah, they were favored. I mean, they're number 1.
Yeah.
They lost to number 3.
Which isn't a terrible loss, but layups are supposed to happen from 1 to 3.
But 41-24.
You shouldn't have lost like that.
No.
Oh, speaking of, this is a complete sidebar off of everything. Did you see the Memphis Grizzlies OKC game the other night?
No.
Third quarter with like maybe 9 minutes to go, OKC was up like 70 points. I kid you not. It was like 123 to 50 something.
The hell?
This is NBA.
By 70.
70.
Was the other team even playing? Did they have all 5 players on the fucking court?
I have no idea what took place. So I got a message on my phone about like just game scores.
Yeah.
And like this, obviously one popped up saying halftime or something scored. I was like, is that real? So I flipped channels and I was like, this, holy shit.
That's insane.
I was like, I call my kids every day. I was like, yo, look at this. Is this real?
How's that even possible in the NBA?
I did not think that was possible. I think if they did not beat, if Memphis Grizzlies didn't beat the franchise record of highest game score, I think they beat the highest margin of victory in the NBA.
Every person in that organization should be fired.
Oh, exactly. I 100% agree.
Every player, every coach, everybody should be fired.
100%. Like I pay you money to play a game.
Yeah.
There's nights where we may lose by 15 or 20, 70,
Down
and
by
there's
70.
still time left in the fourth. There's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you're down
Fire
by
'em.
70 points.
Yeah. Just should all be gone.
I would have fouled out on purpose.
Kind of like how Colombia wins 75% of the gold medals.
Yeah, that looks something like that.
Yeah, but somehow we have the same exact thing every year, right?
Yeah, I will tell you this: their work ethic is off the charts.
Sure.
I wouldn't go into the whole foul play because I know a lot of the guys and girls down there that train really heavy. But again, this day and age, I would be remiss to not think something else without seeing it firsthand. But I have seen it firsthand.
Sure.
I've seen the training. I've seen the work they put in. And work breeds results.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say at that
Well, I mean,
point?
they've got a great organization, it seems. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos. I've talked to a lot of people. And obviously, even, I mean, in the 90s, to me, what they kind of set up and what they've got going on now is kind of like what we have in Houston with the Astros.
Okay.
Where 2014, Jim Crane came in. Wait, is it Jim Crane? Bob Crane? Anyway, fucking Crane. Is Jim Crane? Jim Crane might be the guy on Mad Money.
You got me. I don't do baseball.
Anyway, I think the guy on Mad Money, like on the one that fucking pushes the buttons, I think that's
Yeah.
Jim Crane.
Okay.
Anyway, Crane comes in 2014 and he buys the team in the middle of three back-to-back 100 game loss seasons.
Ooh.
And just completely gutted the team, but built up this massive farm team.
Yep.
Where they'd spent a decade, first draft pick, and just exploded. Obviously, now the Astros last 5 years in a row made it to the in LCS. 3 or 4 out of the last 5 been to the World Series. To me, that's kind of like what I see in Colombia.
Yeah.
Is that investment was made a decade ago.
And that's they worked at it, kept working at it, bro. They have thousands of kids under the age of 10 just chomping at the bits to just skate every day. That used to be like that. We grew up in that.
Yeah.
You go down there now and look at it now, we didn't even have it that good then. Like, we had a lot of people skating.
Yeah, I mean, they've got like 40 bank tracks or something like that. One in every town.
And they're not in the best shape, all of them.
Yeah.
But they at least have all these tracks. And they call them clubs.
Yeah.
So you go to this club, like we would go to a gym or like a community center gym or something like that. And that's what these kids have.
Yeah.
After school, boom, they're skating. Next day, after school, they're skating. Weekends, pap, 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 they're skating. Like, they just want to skate.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, we have unreal expectations, I think, in the USA. And that's why I think that's not the only reason. That's just a tidbit of a reason. It's unreal expectations. We train here, we win here, we think we're the best. That used to be a thing. We're not there. You've talked about this with many of our peers and friends on your podcast. I've watched them. Like, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Like, you guys have already discussed it. So.
Yeah, it does. It sucks, and this is not taken away from any of the athletes that
No,
are out
not
there.
at all. Not
I
at
mean,
all.
you've got look. We all know what it takes to get there.
Exactly.
And so, look, to make the world team, it's just but we can recognize that investment into the organization, into the club, and the future has been made in a place like Colombia,
Sure.
versus the United States,
Right.
over the past decade.
And granted, we do have 5,000 more sports than any other country has,
Right.
and we're not ranked. Our sport isn't ranked high, so we won't get like a government type help that they
Right.
get.
Right.
But they even have like local companies that like chime right in. We talked about this earlier at lunch. Like, yes, we do drop the ball, but at the same time, anybody is open in the United States to go seek financial help.
Yeah.
From any corporate company. We don't stop anybody from that. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody, hey, don't go talk to Pepsi about sponsoring Team USA or sponsoring your kid or doing whatever. It's just we drop the ball and then everybody finger points.
Yeah.
That's all it is now, is a bunch of finger pointing. And we won't get anywhere. And nobody gets anywhere with finger pointing.
Yeah.
You have to be accountable at some point to move forward.
Which kind of like where your role is now with USARS.
Yep.
That's kind of the role you've kind of just taken that upon yourself.
And I have, because like this is what I was telling you earlier. Like, I'm not trying to be the savior. I'm just trying to scratch an avenue that maybe hasn't been scratched enough over the years. After we have fallen from financial help era to where world team, you've been on the world teams. When we were on the world teams at the same time, we didn't pay for anything.
Right.
We got everything.
Right.
We had bags, we had uniforms, we had this, we had that. I'm thinking if that time back then, if we would have done the homework back then, we probably would have had Nike or Reebok or Adidas, or we would have had more than we already had. That was all from USOPC saying, boom, there's your money, make it happen. Good luck at Worlds. And they knew we were coming home with medals and money.
Yeah.
So we
with
were
a lot of them.
We were basically paying for the next year with our performance every time. Well, that started to drastically drop off because we don't have Houston Astros farm leagues anymore.
Right.
We have everybody wanting to be the next best person, which is great. but nobody is doing. We talked about this earlier too. People used to come down here and train. I used to go places and train. People used to come with me and train. Yeah, we're enemies on the track. Doesn't mean we can't train together and make each other better.
Right.
Doesn't happen anymore.
Actually, ironically, Casey Boudier, we talked about him a little bit earlier.
Yep.
And I actually read a post of his. He was talking about something on Facebook where he was questioning a situation, I guess, where there's what would someone do? You've got an athlete who's been training with this particular team, this particular coach for so many years, 5 years, whatever. And now he's kind of grown beyond that team. He needs to go somewhere else. A lot of people need that push, that drive. I mean, like, you guys had it, champions, we had it. I mean, it wasn't just, look, that team did not just consist of Chad and Cheryl and Ashley Horgan and Fred and me. All Billy Rainey, Colby Anderson, Springer, Gerald Kendall, Nathan Whitaker, all these guys.
There's a
ton of people that pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. But what KC was talking about was, okay, this kid has outgrown that team.
Right.
But he needs to train with this other team so he can grow, but he's still going to need the use of, we'll call it Casey's rink or team still to practice. And, I think even to me personally, I didn't, I love Casey. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
But my thought process is, if you're promoting the sport, if your true goal is to grow the sport for the future,
right,
doesn't matter what team that kid skates for. It doesn't matter what uniform that kid wears.
At all.
He should train him, let him skate here, do whatever is useful for him, and help him go further, whatever it takes.
Agreed.
Because it's for the sport. If he's better, this person's going to get better, and this person's going to get better, and this person's going to get better.
Well, then you go home and your club gets faster.
Right.
Like, that's the same. Like, it trickles down. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It completely trickles down. It shouldn't be looked at like, oh, you're stealing my skater or we're losing our skater.
Right.
You shouldn't. If everything is done correctly, you're not losing anybody. You're gaining more knowledge and you're gaining a better athlete at practice and everything. It's just you hit a ceiling there because nobody is close enough to help you do things.
Right.
Now, is there ways around that? Yeah. 2 laps down, we're running a 5-lap race. Good luck. Or 10 laps, you're down 3 laps, and there's ways to train harder when you don't have the necessary speed or tools to work. But it shouldn't be a thing ever where somebody goes to skate with somebody else and they say, you stole my skater or you this. Social media is the complete death of a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And I'll just leave that at that. Everybody, that's a rabbit hole too. For many reasons.
I'll tell you, one of the greatest things for us that, with Paul made us skate the big races.
Right.
He made us skate the big events, and for us, he didn't necessarily push the smaller events for us. With a lot of other people on the team, they needed that work. Yep. But it was those competitions. It was that higher level of competition, constantly going out there, racing against you, racing against Keith, racing against Rob, Joey Cheeks, all these guys constantly racing, and it was constantly elevating that level.
Yep.
That when we came back, and now we bring that knowledge of that race or this tactic back to practice, it's now benefiting all of those other people that are there. And
agreed.
I have seen it feels, because I've gone to some of the practices, and like Tracy Donnelly, the coach down at Champions, love the guy. Yep. I think he's a fantastic man. I've been around him for like 20 years. I think he's awesome.
Yep.
The issue I see is with a lot of the skaters, they're all for themselves.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a team unit, and it's energy is how I look at it. I train with somebody else. Like, for me, it was Keith.
Yeah.
That's who got me over the bubble. I mean, coaches, Scott Moyers, Jeff, whatever the case may be, they helped me mindset-wise, training-wise, things like that. But Keith was my person that got me over that next bump. Like, showed me firsthand, training with him, what I needed to get to where I wanted to go. As a skater, not just a coach to skater kind of thing. But it's energy. I go home back to practice, and I have an extra step on that person that I maybe wasn't beating at the time or whatever the case may be. And they're like, well, damn, what is he doing? Like, this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, it's like you're building energy with everybody else because they're like, either you shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
I mean.
And you're and you want, like, your effort was to be an absolute killer.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted to go out on
Yeah.
that floor and you wanted to win every
Yeah.
single race.
Yeah.
It's the only way. You have to practice like a champion.
But why step on the floor if you don't want to win?
Right. And now what I see, like I said, I've been to these practices, and it's almost like it's a social event.
Yeah.
Everybody's more concerned about, what this does, and then they go on the side and
This
they
uniform, that uniform.
Yeah.
Like what wheels? Why are you wearing those? And why are you with that boot? Why don't you like? It's too much, man. It's
Yeah.
It's not just skating anymore.
Yeah.
That's long. Like those days are not here right
Yeah.
now, and I miss it.
Yeah, well, and for me, like, we're going to go back to this. Obviously, I haven't been involved in the sport for 20 years. You have.
Yeah.
You're now a board member.
Yeah.
Which is, it's so
wild.
it's so wild to think about that. I mean,
wild, bro.
like, watching you, like, in sophomore, junior, senior men skating.
Yeah.
By the way, got a little hint of that today when I was watching you, and I got a picture of it. This
Yeah.
little leg kick you did. You kicked your leg out, and I was like, it's not gone away. You're on quads.
Same form.
It's the same exact thing, man. It was just this little leg kick, and I was like, holy fuck, I've seen that thing 1,000 times, man.
Never goes away, bro.
No, it was, but 25 years later now, you're a fucking board member for USARS.
Yeah.
Vice President?
Vice President.
What is it? What do you, like, we talked about a little bit, you're involved, like, fundraising, kind of like.
So I'm really not involved with the fundraising. I've taken it upon myself, like I said, like a week or two ago, to ask if I could have like a USA Roller Sports email address that I solely use for that purpose of trying to fundraise, because that's been a big topic with Worlds coming around and why do we have to pay so much and this, that. I get it. But it's not just one person. It's not just one organization effort. Like, it's parents can do all this stuff too. And we have had tons of donations. And actually, I forgot exactly what it was offhand. There was an $11,000 donation to the world team this year for speed, and it was allocated for speed.
I was going to say, I heard about this. Was it not? It was a parent, I believe.
It was a parent.
Yeah.
And offhand, I apologize if you're watching this. I forget the name offhand, but it was a great gesture.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care why or how you had the money. You could have done whatever you wanted with that money, and you decided, hey, you love the sport enough to, here you go. Good luck at Worlds, and let me help make it a little easier to travel there for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But it doesn't stop or start with just one person. Everybody can do things, and it doesn't have to be this $50,000, $100,000 donation. If you have a company that says, hey, we want to give $5,000 to USA Roller Sports, it's going to help something or somebody.
Yeah.
Period. Your kid, another person's kid, whatever the case may be. I'm a big advocate of helping people. I'm just not a millionaire. If I was a millionaire, I promise you, world teams would never have to pay. Like, I would.
Right.
It's a tax write-off. First of all,
Yeah.
I'll gladly come out of pocket and say, "You're going to Worlds. You're going to Worlds. You're going to Worlds." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where, like, I wouldn't care. Like, it's just, I don't know, bro. So back to the topic. I did take it upon myself. I needed something that looked real enough and it wasn't just scarter905@gmail.
Yeah.
Hey, I work for this nonprofit organization, and by all means, I'm just a volunteer. So I was wondering if you guys would give us some money from scarter905@gmail. Probably goes right to spam, first of all. So I
Right.
don't even get through the gatekeeper. So
Yeah.
nothing looks official. So I'm hoping with this, after I've drafted this first one, like I said, I sent a couple out because I want to see responses to see if maybe my approach needs to be different in the email or whatever. I'm not a professional at this. I'm looking at templates online and kind of cutting those up and doing whatever. So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens though. But that's just a piece of what I do with them.
Well, we talked about this earlier. It sounds like you guys have really done a really good job of, like, just putting the pencil to paper and really turning around the finances out there.
Facts. So Heidi Permadio is the president right now of the board. Ricky, I'd be literally kicked in the back if I didn't say how great Ricky's been since she's been back as the executive director. Ricky Kometz. Mm-hmm. And then we have Brent and Megan in the office also. So that's the office staff, Ricky, Brent, and Megan. And then you have Heidi. Tirelessly working, changing things around. We have people on the board that want to be there, that want to contribute and help, and not just sit there and check a box and be yes men and women. It's worked so much better since this has happened this way. I don't know if everybody on the board agrees. I would say yes, because they agreed to it, and we have like multiple calls throughout the year. It's not just spring and fall. If something comes up that we need to talk about, somebody sends out an email saying, hey, what day works for everybody for a call to discuss X topic, and we jump on a call. Might be an hour, might be 2 hours. We might be friends after the call's over. We might not, baby. I don't know. We argue about stuff sometimes, but you don't want yes men and women. You want opinionated people, because otherwise you don't end up with an organization that's has variety and is diverse and things like that. So transparency is a huge thing that I pushed since I've been under Heidi as vice president. Transparency doesn't look good to the organization if they don't know what we're doing. Can't just sit behind a closed door and make decisions, and then how do we get from here to here is what I want to tell people. I want them all to see how we got from here to here. I don't want to just start here and we spit this out, because we could get member input somewhere in here that may help this be a better end goal. So that's how we're operating right now.
So much more inclusive, rather than the way it kind of felt 20, 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Where it was, hey, you guys are a bunch of lowly fucking athletes, and we really don't care what you have to think, because it was being run by, we'll call it the good old boy network.
Yep, and that's a phrase that everybody knows.
Yeah, it's I mean, people that were deeply entrenched in the organization, you know, that were just, they wanted to wrestle that control. And now it sounds like you guys have really tried to go back out there and involve a lot of people.
Cleaned house.
Yeah.
It was needed. I don't want somebody there for the sake of having a title. I could care less if anybody knew I was vice president of the board. I'm just there to support Heidi. Like I told you earlier, even if I happen to land a big company sponsorship or something like that, cool. I could care less if anybody knew I was doing it. I'm doing it because I love the sport.
Yeah.
I'm still here skating because I love to skate. Yeah. I mean, it's not a thing where I need a way to go, Carter. Yeah. This is not what I would be doing if I wanted a pat on the back.
Right, yeah. Yeah, this is not it. Yeah. So you're doing the roller derby, what's your goal here? I mean, do you just, at this point, are you just going to stay doing derby? Or are you trying to are you going to do speed skating? Are you going back and forth?
So I'm not back and forth. I've been plagued over the last year and a half with some kind of silly injuries, and it's my fault for body maintenance. And I get on a good track at some point, but then I have kids' schedules, and I have a work schedule, then I have the wife, and I have
adulting's a bitch, right?
It is. It's crazy. And the crazier part is, we talked about this. I have a full gym in my basement. The only thing I have to do is walk down the damn steps. And I come home from work some days, and I'm just like,
fuck it. Yeah.
I look at the basement door, and I'm like,
yeah,
nah, I'll do it later. So my own fault. I still play flag football on a high level. About a year and a half ago, playing on a muddy field, it was raining, and I strained my Achilles. Bad strain, and I was out for a while. Luckily, no tear. I came back from that, started slowly rehabbing, was riding a bike a little bit on the stationary. Swift, actually. We've been doing that a lot. Shortly after that, I decided, I'm ready. I want to skate again, race again. I never stopped. It was an injury timeout, basically. Emerald Coast, I skated.
Okay.
I was okay for it. I skated classic instead of, Grandmaster. I might be Grandmaster now. I might Veteran Esquire. I don't know. I'm old right now. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna go down one and not skate with the guys my own age. Not that they're not fast, but I wanted a challenge. So
sure.
I said, I don't want to do senior and pro and have a big challenge. I just want a little bit more of a challenge. I'm doing some work with Power Slide at the time. Matter, which Power Slide affiliate.
Yeah.
I got the booth set up. We got some new wheels that we were trying to push there and whatever. So I put on this magical set of fresh wheels. Didn't break them in. I thought I did, but I did a couple laps or whatever. Yeah. As soon as I came off the line, I was like, I said, this ain't going to be good. So I was like, I'm going to get through it, though. It's 5 laps. I'm going to get through it. Boom. Hit the first corner. I was like, oh, this ain't going to be good. So I could do straightaways. I was like, bet. So I did straightaways, caught back up to first place. Hit the corner, a little bit. Down the straightaway is where it happened. All right, was it in the corner? Long story short, one of my little spins and saves. Come back down the straightaway, saved it, stood up. Digging. Hit that same corner on the next lap. Toe pick. I was out. And me trying to be that super athlete that I think I have been most of my life. It's bet, do this tuck and roll, pop right back up like we do when we used to fall back in the day. Nailed my shoulder, but I popped up and I was like, whew, that hit worse. That don't feel like it used to, bro. So I finished the race, right? And afterwards, after the adrenaline wore off and everything, I went back over to the booth and I'm hanging out and I was kind of just like, something don't feel like it's working right. So I separated my shoulder, long story short.
Oh, God.
So that was another injury. That took a little bit of rest and really couldn't do anything but rehab for that. Then it was flag football again. And this was earlier this year. I literally had a flag football tournament called Skamug. So I played with some buddies where I used to live at. We travel to Jersey, New York, whatever, and we play in these money tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're like 5 wins deep. My team name's Wealthy Dreams is my team. And we actually got invited to the Tournament of Champions in December. We played for $10,000. So long story short, I'm on the field playing cornerback, routine flag pull on like a 10-yard out route, just step forward, and I felt like my whole pelvis just like shifted. Didn't hurt, but I was just like, all right, just like, wasn't hurting. It was just kind of like pressure and uncomfortable. So I go off to the side. I got my massage gun like everybody has now. And I'm like, my buddy's girlfriend was there. And I'm like, step on my back. Like, I feel like it's in my back. Like, stand on my back, like right here or whatever. And I'm like doing all these stretches. And it just feels like something in my lower back, like over here, needed, you crack your back and you get that feeling. I felt like it needed to be cracked and I couldn't quite get it. I could feel it. And I was like, this ain't working. So we had 2 games. We were on the second game. We had a break in between the playoff game and championship game. I Googled a massage place because I know every mall now has like the Asian place that you can go to, which is a godsend.
Yeah.
And I found one like 6 miles away. I was like, yo, I'll be back. Boom, I'm out. I get there and I'm like hobbling in. It starts setting in like deep. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like, I don't even know what's what. I get there and the guy's like, hey, what can I do? I said, my lower back. He's like, how long? I said, like, I got like 20 minutes, bro. So he's massaging, and then he starts coming up to my neck, and I'm like, bro, down here, like nothing up here is matter. Go down to my back. So I got through that. I had some hemp rub or something like that. I put that on there. I stretched a little bit more. I finished the tournament. We won. But then the next day, this was Sunday. No, it was a Saturday. Sunday, the next day, oh my God. I couldn't stand up straight.
Oh.
I was so fucked.
Oh.
Couldn't stand up straight. I immediately on Monday morning called the chiropractor that I was supposed to go to probably a year and a half ago to start getting adjusted on a regular basis. They already had me in as a patient because I was supposed to come and I had to cancel. Couldn't get me until Tuesday, so I had to go to work, like hobble.
Yeah.
Like I was bent over.
Yeah.
Like it was bad. And then immediately I was like, I'm 80 years old right now. This is so bad right now. First day I went in, he couldn't even work on me because it was so bad. I was sitting in like one of the sit-up massage chairs where you kind of lean into it. It's all I could do.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even touch me. My back was like in constant muscle spasm. I had a bulging disc basically. So do I want to go back to skating? Yes. I need to now go back to body maintenance, get my body right, and then go back into training again because I still want to do a 100-meter. I still want to do a 200-meter. I still want to do a one-lapper. There's a lot of races that are catered to people like us, spinners, from back in the day. So that's what I'm looking at doing. Derby will never stop until I just can't play it anymore. It's fun. It's like a chess match. I've never played a game of chess in my life, but it's like a chess match, so I hear. I'll never stop. Like, I like winning. I like competing. That'll never probably leave me, ever.
What I watched today was pretty interesting. I've never seen Derby before.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it on TV, of course, back in the day when, like Debbie Rice and them, they created that
Roller games.
Roller
Jam.
Roller Jam. It was
Jam.
like on TNN or something like that.
Mo was in there too. Mo was playing with me here.
Yeah. He was on there. So I remember him from that. But what was like it was a different thing. Of course it was TV, so it was kind of like a showmanship kind of
drama
thing.
series, like.
But watching this today, really, like the way everybody was out there, reminded me of what an inline club was 20 years ago. The camaraderie with all you guys talking, with you guys doing everything.
High-fiving, like, hey, good job. Like,
yeah.
And that's how Derby is, bro. That's why I think I kind of gravitated to it.
Yeah.
And not because I needed that.
Yeah.
I gravitated.
No. They're looking. They're wanting to come in to get more tables or more chairs.
I thought I had a good word. Damn. I was like, shit. I'm made for this shit.
But no, yeah, like I saw that and I was like, man, it was awesome. It was everybody. Of course, you guys were all dressed. It was like half the group was in white shirts, half the group was in black shirts. Obviously, that was intentional. And you guys were all at the end, everybody gave everybody a high five. Hey, good job. Everybody's cheering everybody on, giving everybody pointers throughout the whole thing. It wasn't it didn't feel, even though you guys are literally trying to qualify for the world team,
Facts.
there wasn't anybody literally trying to.
Fuck you.
Exactly.
No, that shit doesn't happen. Like, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
So it hasn't happened. But, like, I like Derby, I think, because it is like a family feel, especially in other rule sets. You have a team that you play with, and that's like your team. You ride for them. And
Yeah.
that's your homies.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, seeing that was pretty amazing. I was very surprised. Like I said, I'd never watched it before. I still don't understand the rules behind it, and one day you're going to have to kind of explain it to me.
We can definitely have that
But
talk.
like I was completely out of it.
I was going to hold the door.
I tell you, okay, so this is like the show's called Manage Chaos.
Yeah.
Because literally every fucking show, something goes, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I've had the fucking lights go out. I've had other shit happen. I've had fucking.
Would you just trip a breaker when the lights went out?
No, it was like I have, so right now we're obviously using a ring light that I can travel with, and the camera's mounted on it. But at home, in my studio, I actually have like professional lights.
Sure.
That can plug in, but they also have battery operated, so they can run fully off the power plug, or if I want, I can move them around and they work off batteries for like 2 hours. Well, not paying fucking attention. In the studio, there's 2 switches. One turns on a light, one does nothing fucking else in there, except for apparently turn the plugs on inside the goddamn room.
I hate those lights.
So I'm like, I flipped that. Apparently, I didn't flip the goddamn plug, and the next thing I know, I'm like, we're like an hour and a half into the fucking show, and the lights start going out, and they hadn't charged, and I couldn't get them to fucking go back on.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was just. I've had that shit happen. It's on everything. So now we're here at the skating rink, and there's people coming in getting fucking chairs and all that stuff. So it's funny.
They tiptoed in. They were pretty quiet.
Yeah. I actually wanted, I don't know if you've ever heard me tell this story. Have you've so, it was probably like 98, 99. It was after one of the world championships. Bob Justice was doing an interview with me.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to tell you this story is because it's heavily influenced by you, specifically you.
I'm afraid now.
Yeah, but it's heavily influenced by you and Keith.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
And so there was Bob was doing this interview with me. I forget where we were, but I'm standing, like, he's talking to me, and there's a whole bunch of people. There's probably 500 people just around, because that's how big the meets were back then.
Facts.
So Bob's talking to me, and he's, I'd won some race or whatever, and he's like, hey, Jason, how, talking to me, how's this, man, how'd you do that, blah, blah, and I said, well, the truth is, Bob, my real father's black. So it comes quite naturally, Bob, for me to be a sprinter.
I did not hear this story before.
So, well, I tell that story all the time because I at this point in my life I just tell everybody that I'm half black.
Right.
And
but they can't prove. You have to do the ancestors.com to prove you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tell me I'm fucking wrong. But I tell and I was actually talking to, like, someone asked me, like, okay, where does this actually come from?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I was a sprinter,
Mm-hmm.
and growing up, the people that I like I was emulating to be,
Right.
was you and Keith. Like,
Damn.
you guys,
Is that real?
absolutely, 100%. Like, there was. So there literally wasn't in our sport, to me. You had Keith, obviously, that was just unparalleled.
Facts.
World level.
Yep.
And then you were like right here below him because you're training with them all the fucking
Yep.
time. So you're like boom, boom, boom right
Yep.
there. And me, as far as I was concerned, I was number 3. I was number 3 as far as I was
I would
concerned.
go with that.
Yeah, like there was Keith, there was you, and then there was me. And I always aspired to be you guys. As far as I was concerned, well, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to fucking have fun with this.
Facts.
There's 2 black guys that are better than me, so I'm like, well, I want to be just like them. So I'm half black,
You know what's kind of fucked up on a little level is because I'll agree with you on, like, the 1, 2, 3 and us being, like, the fastest at this given time. Like, that was it.
Sure.
Everybody knew, like, if we were on the line, like, they were gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Chad floated through that 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, for
Yeah.
some reason, somehow,
Yeah.
whether it be bank track, road, indoor.
It was like a spark.
Yeah,
Someone
like
kick off in
and
him.
it was like, how did I just lose to him in this? He doesn't even have a start.
No.
0 start. Like, baffled. That was
He
yeah.
has what I would tell you from training with him. Chad has an unparalleled amount of torque. That's the only way I can explain it.
Like I know it. I've seen it.
It's just when he pushes, there's so much power there, and when he gets going, and yeah, he doesn't have a start. I watched a video. You weren't on the you were on the start line. We were at Champions.
Okay.
And it was a mixed relay.
Yep.
Where it was 2-man relay, and they took the junior and they took the senior.
Okay.
And they took like the top 6 from each one, and they mixed us up.
Okay.
Except for the fact that they put me and fucking Miguel Jose together, and then they put like I forgot who you were with, and then like Keith is with fourth, and I think Adam Miller's with Chad.
You know why I remember that? Because we wrecked the rink that night.
Yes. 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 I do. I remember that. But we were on the starting line. We're all there on the starting line, and Chad jumps.
Yeah.
Chad jumps. And fucking, like, I think it was Keith at the cone.
Yeah.
And I'm like second or third, and Chad's right here, and you're over here close to the wall, I believe. And they, of course, pull Chad back. And you can see it very, very clearly in the video. Like, when we go up, I clearly step completely sideways, directly in front of Chad.
Mm-hmm.
And he stands up, and he's like this. Like this is before they even shot the gun to let us back off. And he's like this. And they come and they move me over and shit. I'm like, what the, like, fuck this.
That's old school move, though.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, you're talking about the fastest man in the world. We're talking about the most decorated American athlete in history of anything. I'm like, you don't think for one fucking second I'm going to try to get a leg up on this dude?
All day.
Of course.
All day.
I ended up winning the start.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the goddamn race.
Typical sprinter. Typical sprinters.
I want to say, I believe that Keith and fourth won. But like we were. I mean, it was me and Miguel, man.
Yeah.
It was literally a sprinter.
That's not a bad relay though. Any given day, that's not a bad relay.
But it's not a relay against Keith and Chad, and then Adam Miller Keith and Fred, and then Adam Miller and Chad, and some of these other fucking teams
Yeah, that's pretty
that
rough.
were out there.
That's rough.
I was like,
well, at that time, yeah, because you guys were. Thanks,
Oh my
Gypsy.
God. Thank you, Gypsy. God.
You sound like God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, so I don't think I've ever talked about that. But truthfully, look, Chad, I trained with him every day.
Yeah.
But as far as like sprinters went, like when we skated, there was no respect for a sprinter.
No.
As far as Paul was concerned, I needed to do the long races.
Yep.
There was no emphasis on the
There
short
was
race.
we didn't have a lane.
Yeah.
We were just good at sprints.
Right.
But we weren't really considered like an overall athlete.
No.
At all.
And it didn't matter how many 10Ks I didn't fucking finish. I wasn't going to get more 5-lap races. He was still going to make me do the fucking 10Ks.
Facts.
It's just the way it was. And so you train with Chad, and it was like the focus is on long race. So I had to look at who I felt was my peers.
Sure.
And it was the entire time. And I I tell people this all the time. And I actually talked to Keith about this. Literally, it's Keith and you.
Yeah.
Right here, everybody, this is all I ever wanted to be was these two sprinters. I was like, I knew what I was fucking good at.
Right.
I know I was not good at a 10K. Like, I had to skate the marathons at Worlds only because there's a likelihood that I'm going to have to fucking hit somebody.
Right.
To defend, the
Well, we all skated the marathon. I like as protection, backup, as long as possible.
Yeah, I think in '99 I gave Harry Vogel a fucking relay push. I was able to stay into it.
I think everybody has a Harry Vogel relay story. I feel like
Yeah.
he saves energy, and then he knows that somebody will do that for him, and he's like,
Yeah.
now I can use my battery pack.
Yeah.
You were talking about your lights?
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah.
He's just like, nah, I got teammates in here.
Yeah.
They'll see me, they'll push me, and then I'll start skating. I feel like everybody has a push story for Harry
Yeah,
Vogel.
I love talking to Fred about him because
I watched him. Fred gets so mad, bro.
he does, and he held back. It was great. He held back on the show, but I could see because we've talked about it so many times, and it's just like the veins are popping out. He's
He
like,
gets so mad.
He's like, I want to fucking kill him.
Yeah, I saw the podcast on that one when he was with the show when you guys were talking about that. And he's like, you just see his hand just start going. Yeah, I saw that. That's comedy. Yeah, I
Well,
never
look,
knew that, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you guys were my like I said. I mean, training with Chad, it was, of course, and maybe it was a little bit of being spoiled because it was fantastic. You saw this athlete, but again, he's winning 15,000 meter races that I never care about competing in. I don't care about competing in the points elimination.
Those were keep your legs loose races.
Yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care. If it
Stay out there for a few laps, stay warm for the next race. I got it for a sprint. I don't care about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
And so for me, maybe again, like it was being spoiled. But then when we go to meets, especially outdoor nationals, who's creating comparable times to what I'm doing?
Nobody.
You and Keith.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But outside of our group, nobody else.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, so yeah, I do. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I've never told you that.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
People ask me that. They ask all the time, and I'm like, it's literally Keith and Steven. That's all I ever cared about.
You know the bad part? The only thing that I wish would have happened. So the year that I made the team and not an alternate and all that stuff, when I finally made team, 2000, I won the 300 on the road, and I beat Keith, Chad, whoever out, whatever. But the next year, none of them came back. Chad came back and skated the next year. Keith was done. Derek was done. So I didn't really get to go back and see. Granted, I think at that point was kind of like the passing of the torch, and not negative on Keith, but I was getting faster, and it was kind of like I was on the bubble that year. I just had a good run, and then I wanted to see how it played out the next year, and no Keith at Outdoor Nationals. So obviously, Outdoor Nationals the following year was a layup for me.
Yeah,
it was a no-brainer. But I will tell you that. Yeah, Chad was always floating through there, bro. I've skated a 500 meter with him in his draft, and he's telling me, I'm leading you out, and I can't get out of his draft to pass him.
Yeah.
And you said the torque. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. If you look at Chad, let's just be honest about it. If you look at Chad, you don't see athlete.
No.
But the pure fucking, brute force within that man is undeniable.
He's a monster.
He looks like just your normal run-of-the-mill guy.
Yep. Agreed.
But god damn, man. Yeah, he was unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Only way I could relate it is, like I said, torque.
Yeah. It makes sense.
He just had it in him.
Yeah, that makes 100. I never looked at it like that, but that's exactly it.
Yeah.
When he wanted to go, you twisting the frame on the body and he's out.
Yeah.
Kicked it and went.
Yeah.
Good time we skated in, man. When we wanted to actually be competitive, that was a very good time.
Yeah.
I wish a lot of kids nowadays would go back and look at footage, but it's still not the same as being there and seeing it firsthand.
Well, no, and this is not taking anything away from someone like Joey Mantia, because he's clearly, he's
a monster
accomplished.
Too.
Yeah, but for some god awful reason, you talk to kids today, and nothing. Apparently, speed skating didn't exist before Joey Mantia.
Exactly.
And they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I'll tell you, I think I did see, or somebody told me maybe that he went to a meet or something at some point, and maybe a couple of the younger ones really didn't know who he was. So that's showing you how much it's progressing, and he's probably the most recent monster that we've had as a male.
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't even seem like it's been that long.
Because, that was maybe, 15 years ago.
I don't know if it's even been that long.
Well, was he, 2000, was he on there 2010? Because he's been doing, this will be
Had
his
to be
second.
at least 2010 because he was skating NSC then.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Well, but still, there's
it's just funny to see the progression, and you see new skaters come in, and we know a lot of athletes. Like Heather Laufer's here.
Yeah.
We know Heather Laufer.
Yeah.
And people know Heather because Heather's been skating great over these last several years. She's decided to come back and do things.
Yeah.
But no kids could tell you what she did back in the day.
Right.
They have no idea who they're skating against or with.
Right.
It's funny to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like Gypsy, I'm going to have her on, and just even talking to people about her, they only think of her as the skate mobile or Adam.
They have
no
idea.
You're like, oh my God.
She was a monster.
Oh my God. The speed that this woman could generate was insane.
Is there a motor in the back of that Honda?
I have a story. We were in the X Games. You were in the X Games.
Yep.
You were in the '98 there in San Diego.
Yeah.
When we all fell. Well, I fell. Like Michelle Bazot fell, Gypsy fell, and I'm going to talk. I'll end up talking to Gypsy about this.
I was at the bottom of the hill where she fell,
and she was on her butt the entire way, just sliding.
She fell on her butt. I'm pretty sure she got lips, and she flipped over, and she was on her wrist
Yes.
guards and knees, but then the one knee pad wasn't even on.
Came off, yeah.
Oh,
gone.
and she just
Oh, it was so bad because when we were all ESPN paid for all of us. You know, I broke my ankle, and ESPN paid for us all to go to the same.
I got that
clinic.
STP sponsor that year, so I got
Yeah.
another $500.
Yeah.
I was happy about that because
That's
I
nice.
didn't do shit out of my heat. So
I mean, look, I didn't either. You
Yeah.
know, I snapped my freaking ankle in half, but it was just funny. We're in this waiting room and it's like 12 downhill inline people. And Gypsy, she can't sit, she can't lean on anything, so they've got her like in the waiting room, kind of on her side. She's like leaning on her side, and she still has she has her uniform
Everything.
on, and the uniform's burnt. It looks like a pair of like assless chaps.
Crispy.
And so they have like a piece of paper, like the medical bed
Like
paper,
this, like the paper rolling right here, yeah.
just leaned across her because they couldn't do anything for her yet.
God,
So I think about that. The other and man, I know you're gonna have to get ready here in a minute.
yeah,
and,
we're good. What time is it? Yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to. Do you remember? You remember France? Going to France. I was like, someone was talking to me about this the other day. I was like, yeah, my spades partner,
yeah, facts.
Stephen Carter is my spades partner. Yeah, they were like, what? They're
After
like,
people didn't even have a play space.
yeah, we were just fucking, we were knocking them over the head the entire time. I remember we were playing. I think Chad Bergelauskas was there
Yep.
with us one year, and so it was you and me. We played everybody on these fucking buses.
Yep.
I'm not
We
even sure.
skated. A group of us skated at McDonald's that year.
Yeah.
It was like 4 miles away, and we had the pace line going to McDonald's in the win.
It was a trip, man. It was a different time. Like you said, man, we could all be just complete animals to each other on the track,
And we were cool.
and then come off the track, man, and we're buddies, and that's just the way the
That's the
sport
way
was.
it should be. Like
Yeah.
that was the competitive nature of us at that time, and the hunger and the grind and the drive. Like we wanted to win just as much as the next person, but that don't mean I'm any less of a friend than you when we get off the track.
Absolutely.
Every once in a while, it would be like that was a fucked up pass, or that was some bullshit, or whatever. But by the next meet, you were good at least.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a thing that like I can't believe you said that about me on social media.
Oh my God! Thank God social media was not around when we skated.
It would have been a shit
It
show.
would be so goddamn bad. It'd be so fucking bad.
It would have been a shit
Especially
show.
the stuff that I say. Oh my God! I remember getting in trouble like when AOL message boards were first coming out. I'll be honest. I got into it with like I fucking got into it with Doug
Yeah.
and Julie, and I made a comment on there. Like, because they were talking shit and calling me names. I was a
Yeah.
fucking like 15, 16-year-old kid. And so we were bantering back and forth in these chat rooms and everything. And it was just like, oh my God. And that shit's deleted now. But if it had been on Facebook or Instagram,
Still around for ages.
what if it had been there? I mean, the horrible shit I say on there now. Oh my God.
I kind of wish it was around then, because then my thought process is that it was around then. Now we're over that hump and we're back to regular scheduled program.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't think it'll ever be a thing that we're ever past social media. But I'd like to think that if it was around then, everybody would just be so tired of it by now. We're back.
Just used to it and
Yeah,
done.
we're just back.
Kind of like COVID exhaustion, where you're just like, all right, I'm fucking done with this shit. All right, I'm ready to be over it. Let's move on with our lives.
I'm indifferent on anybody, whatever. I'm like the pro-choice when it comes to this.
Sure.
What works for me, I don't care if it works for you. I usually wear my mask 9 out of 10 times because I just want to avoid a conversation with the wrong people.
Gotcha.
And if a place requests it, I put it on. Like I'll follow the rules. I don't mind doing that, but it is exhausting. Like at what point can we get like hard facts? Actually, I have some hard facts. I know the mask works, maybe not for COVID reasons, but I haven't gotten like my regular colds, my regular common
Sure.
colds as much as I used to.
Sure.
Can't be a coincidence. Like,
Sure.
I get it. It works for something. But
There's some effectiveness to it. Yeah.
I think it's more so of the things that we learned in kindergarten. Wash your fucking hands. Why are we not washing hands as adults?
Yeah.
Why are you preaching for people to wash their hands?
Yeah.
I learned this in kindergarten. Cover your mouth when you sneeze and cough. This is the shit that I see now, and I'm like, where the fuck did these people grow up at that this is what you need to hear before you do it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I get it. Like, yeah, it's just you feel all of this, and we grew up, and you're like this is common sense. Like these things are common sense. But again, I think for us, maybe the world's a little different because we have traveled everywhere. We are athletes, and so we care about our bodies a little bit more. again, I think it's a big problem. The biggest problem I see is that we've got a government pushing a chemical into our body rather than saying eat better,
Right.
exercise.
Right.
Look, I'm not against the vaccine.
Right.
I'm not against you having it, anybody else having it. What I'm against is me having it when I know that I'm fucking healthy and I have the antibodies. I don't need it, but I'm fine.
Right.
Like I got this shit back in fucking April of last year. I've got the antibodies. I've been tested 9 times. I've been exposed several hundred times, directly exposed.
Right.
Man, I'm for everybody doing, but it's like, at what point do we just say, what fucking makes real sense here? And it's just, and that's why I brought up the COVID exhaustion. It's just like, oh my God, I'm just so fucking drained by the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, I went to a basketball game the other day. I went to Lehigh University versus Yale at Yale. New York, parts of New York are very strict right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, this wasn't even New York. It was Connecticut. I was in New Haven, Connecticut.
Which is
just above New York.
Yeah.
But they're strict there too because I had to bring my vaccination card or I wasn't watching the game. I had to show proof of vaccination. And I kind of feel like, cool, I get it, but at the same time, what part of that's my privacy also? Like I'm on both. I see both. I try to look at both sides of the fence on a lot of things. But at the same time, I wasn't going to go against the grain and say, screw that, I'm vaccinated, you have to take me at face value for it. And they say, okay, screw that, you don't watch the game. Yeah. So it's like you got to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, I get it.
But now we're in the age of NFL players coming out with fake vaccination cards. I could scribble something that looks exactly like my vaccination card and get any. So why does it matter? I've satisfied what you asked me for. Yeah. You have no real proof besides the 2 signatures that are on this card.
Right. And proof. And can you read any fucking doctor's signature?
No. It's like a chicka.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm indifferent. I try to see both sides of the fence on all of it.
And what we're saying is, we're not saying that anybody has a fake card. Okay. That's clearly no one's saying it.
I'm hoping you don't do the fake card. If you got vaccinated, get a card. But there's no reason to fake it. Just stick to your guns and say, this is why I don't want to get it. And hopefully at some point, an organization or your work or whoever just starts to like bend around you. Like, okay, we get it. We understand it. We're going to allow it.
Well, we talked about this earlier. You know, the reason we went to Vegas was because Fred turned 40 on November 2nd. Well, instead of, we had been planning for almost a year to go to Spain for running of the Bulls. Yep. But you got to go there and fucking quarantine for 2 weeks, and you have to show your vaccination cards because the United States is considered the red zone to the rest of the world.
Right.
Especially Texas and Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like we are kind of the Wild West a little bit, but
I forgot Texas was a red state.
we could not go, and you got to quarantine for 2 fucking weeks, and then when you come back from Europe, you got to quarantine for 2 weeks here.
Yep.
No, fuck that. And in Vegas wasn't so bad. I think they might have just dropped their mask mandates. They were just talking about that.
And it's to each its own. You can still wear it just because they dropped it.
Sure.
Like, it is what it is. Like, if you have a problem with somebody making fun of you, then maybe you need to reevaluate yourself. I could care less. If I wear it, it's because I'm looking out for me.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Well, I actually told this. There was actually a lady in a fucking one of those little motorized scooters.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it was like a Family Guy or the Cleveland Show, and there's that really huge, the huge fat cartoon with the big fat lady.
Yeah, isn't it called the Clevelands?
Something like that. Yeah, it was just like that. It was a big old lady, and she's literally getting on my ass about not wearing my fucking mask, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is this a serious? Like, what world do we live in right now? You're so goddamn big that you're in a cart.
Like, there's other things at play here, and you're worried about my mask.
Right.
Like, I don't have the bandwidth for those conversations.
Yeah, like I just looked at her and I'm just like,
and anymore I'm you. It takes me a long time to get there, but once I'm there, somebody's got a problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just calm down. Like, it's like, nah, like I can't. I don't just do the calm down easy, man.
Yeah.
So I try now at my older age to not get to that point.
Yeah.
But when it happens, I'm like, you
it's
asked
not
for
pleasant.
This. You asked for this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The world's the world. Like, for instance, we were talking about your hashtag FJBs.
Yeah.
So hear me say, I didn't vote for Trump because I just felt like it wasn't for me.
Sure.
Just like anybody who voted for him, they thought it was for them. I'm not knocking anybody. Just wasn't for me. But when he was president, I didn't hope he failed because you're running our country. You fail, we fail.
Right, exactly.
So that's the only problem I have with anything nowadays that people say. Yeah, everybody fucks up. Yeah, Biden has done his fuck ups. I agree to that too. But you're like, oh, fuck him. He's going to fail, this, that, and the other. He is running our country right now.
Is he really running our country?
He's not. But let's be real. Whoever's in place right now, who's in the place, like I said with Trump, same thing. And this is the tidbit. I'm not getting into a political thing. I go for whoever's there because you're there.
Sure.
I want you to do good because it affects me if you don't do good.
It's supposed to help us as a country.
Exactly. So I wish people would be more loose with their conversations with it instead of just so hard political stance. Like, be open-minded that somebody doesn't think exactly like you.
Sure.
A lot of people don't do that anymore, though. A lot of people are just like, fuck you, it's my way.
It's closed off.
Yeah. And I don't feel like we grow that way. I feel like we're going backwards because of people not being open-minded.
Yeah.
We're completely different when it comes to politics.
Sure.
But we're sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah.
We're friends. I called you. Like, it shouldn't be any different than this. I shouldn't lose friends because of you have one belief and I have another belief.
Right.
It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But I'll tell you, through this whole thing, I've done my share of deleting because I look at these posts that some people put up. It's not the posts that say, hey, this is not good for me because of the amount of money I make and the taxes that he's implementing. That's a solid fact.
Sure.
It may be a solid fact for a person. It's the ones that are like, these people or this something derogatory or something. I'm like, do you forget who you have as your friend on your feed?
There's some kind of undertone there.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, and then the same people, in general, girl, guy, I'm not pointing anybody out in general, you'll see him out at a race or something like that. Hey, what's up, Carter? And I'm like this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, do you not remember what you posted?
Right.
It didn't directly affect me, but I know how you think, and that's not a friend of mine.
Well, like we talked about a story. I told you something that
yeah, I won't repeat that.
Yeah, we're not gonna. We can't put it out on here.
I think he lived that. They lived that. I can't say anything about that at all.
I think he's a different person today.
But my mouth dropped.
Yeah.
When you told me that, I was like, oh my God, no, that's not a thing. Hear me say I wasn't shocked, but I was shocked. If that makes sense.
I've told a couple people. It's not something I'm gonna tell a lot of people about.
Yeah, it doesn't leave me at that point either.
But I've told the people I've told about it just because they know the person.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck?
They know the parties involved. I know both parties.
So they literally sit back and they're like, well, I definitely could see it happening, but at the same time they're like, man, that's fucked up that it happened.
Yeah.
So I know we're going in the weeds because
whatever.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch on it because I know you guys were talking about it to let you know that, yes, we're friends and it's this easy that people remain friends even though they think differently on different topics.
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. That's exactly, and you even talked about it today. When I post something, and I'm going to respond to somebody, the very first thing I'm going to do is be respectful. I never jump into anybody and say, hey.
It doesn't have to be anything else. I give the same energy I get.
Yeah. You don't have to say, hey, you're a fucking dumbass.
Exactly.
You can say, here is where you're wrong.
Right.
Or here is why I believe what I believe.
Exactly.
And you can do it respectfully.
But it's that easy, though.
Oh, it is. It's simple. But it's tribalism.
Yeah.
It's they've said, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, and there's no fucking option. And it's not about, hey, what are we doing that's best for our country?
Right.
And I said this after the election. I was very open about this. I did not support Biden.
Right.
I did not vote for Biden. I was very open about supporting Trump. But when Biden was declared the president, I put a post out there and I made it very clear that, you know what, I may not be happy with it, but he is my president, and I do hope that he does the best job possible for our country.
Prove me wrong.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I've always said. Regardless of something I don't like, just prove me wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I want to happen. I don't want somebody to fail or things like that.
I want him to do good because I want the country to do good.
Prove me wrong.
Please
prove me wrong.
Side note. Do you know that we technically had our first female president the other day?
Yeah, because he was under for anesthesia.
He had his butthole rotor-rooted.
They didn't. You know what? There wasn't a lot of press around that though.
No, of course not.
At all.
Which is, I mean, she was installed as the acting president.
Yeah, it's like formality. Basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think
like if
she
he
was
doesn't
actually
wake
sworn.
up, the swear-in kind of thing would take place at that point.
Right. Yeah,
but he's already they did the paperwork.
Yes.
Part of it.
Yeah.
And he signed off.
So the transition of power if he doesn't wake up.
And the transition's already there, and it's in lieu of him not waking up.
Yeah, that way.
I did know that, and I actually thought that it would be like a milestone kind of thing, but I think they kept it low key because of the stance that we are in with other countries.
Honestly, I think it had to do with her very low ratings right now.
Well, that too. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I agree.
And again, look, hey, I'm not a Kamala Harris fan, but it does deeply bother me that she's that low. I wish she was fucking higher.
More
I
points
wish-
on the like rating, basically.
Yeah, I just wish that she would. I wish that I wish that it was possible, and the scenario was that they were doing better.
Sure.
For whatever reason, that there's this failing or that failing. I'm not saying everything's a failing. There's good, there's bad. I truly do wish that they were doing better because
Right.
it means everybody's doing better.
Yeah.
But that's where the tribalism kind of kicks in.
Yeah, and I get it. Like I said, I just wanted to touch on it because it's that simple, and I feel like it needs to be put out there more. And I feel like your podcast reaches a lot of people, especially like friends and peers of ours. And I like to make my stance known, especially like within our circles. Like,
Sure.
I'm not against you talking about what you believe in. I'm against how you bring it to me.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Don't be a dickhead. You can say whatever you
say
want.
anything you want. You can believe whatever you want. But don't bring me that energy because you're going to get the same energy in return.
Absolutely back. Absolutely. and mine's usually pretty nasty. If it goes that far, then it turns into. I mean, I've got a horrible mouth, so
I noticed.
just a little bit. But look, Steven, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Bro, I'm happy you came down. This
yeah.
was like a super surprise for real.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
you were
excited.
Like, when you were like last night, you were like, I might pop in and give me the times. And I finally got you the times like mad late. And you were like, I'm gonna come up early. I'm not gonna come up late. I'm gonna come up early. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't expect to see you. Literally.
Well, I woke up this morning and I typed out a text to you saying, hey, I'm gonna leave my house at 8 a.m. and I'll be there like around 10, something like that. I never press send.
I literally, when you sat down next to me, I'm like, I was like, I've been an axle. Not an axle. I've been kingpin. Sorry. I've been a kingpin, and I was like, all right. While they're doing like little drills, footwork drills, I'll go out real quick, and I'm taking the stuff apart. I couldn't find the right tools over there or whatever, and I literally was so frustrated, like sweating dripping down my face, and I'm like, whatever. And you popped down, and I was like, who the fuck is it? Yo, you just got here. It was great.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy you came down. Actually, I'm glad we got to do this because when you started this, I said, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate it, Steven. Thank you so much, man. Good luck out there tonight.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate
All
you.
right. See ya.